You're invited to somewhere incredible. Somewhere beautiful.
Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. Alonso, Christy, Matt, coming this week from Disneynature. Bears, shut up.
We weren't going to say anything.
Thank you.
All right, so Bears is about bears. Previously, we saw Earth and oceans and African cats and chimpanzees. This is about bears. It is a very family-friendly documentary about a mama bear whom they name Sky and her cute little cubs Scout and Amber, and how they must emerge from their snowy cave in Alaska and go down the mountains to find some food and the various perils and cute antics that await. Take a look.
Meet Sky and her newborn cubs.
Hold on to me as we go.
The love, the joy, the struggle, and the strength it takes to raise a family.
So it's very beautiful, like they're all very beautiful.
Yes.
They have all these, wow, how they get that shots, the intimacy and the vastness
Right.
are both quite gorgeous.
And if you stay for the closing credits, you'll find out how they got those shots.
I think it's actually a better movie than the movie itself. But
And Jesus, those guys are way too close to those grizzly bears.
and nothing happens. This is not a Werner Herzog movie.
No,
Nobody gets
no.
mauled. but it has far less of like the cutesy kind of cloying anthropomorphism in the voiceover that like African cats had. For example.
that was way too goopy.
Mm-hmm.
The whoever wrote that movie should be working at Hallmark now, because it was so and yeah, Sam Jackson was giving it his best shot, but it was it's John C. Reilly, and granted I kept thinking about TurboTax
and Wreck-It Ralph.
Exactly, yeah, but you know, he's fine. He gives it kind of a wry thing, and there are a few moments. I think there are moments where you can tell that something not all that dramatic has been written and edited to seem more dramatic than it maybe was.
Are you saying they've cobbled events together from various pieces of time?
Horrors.
No.
I will say also, I will never forget. This is one of my favorite screening moments of the last few years. Going to see African cats in the Disney lot, and this one adorable little girl who got traumatized by that movie over and over again. Like her mom would take her out, they'd come back in, something else horrible would happen, she'd leave again. Finally, I think on the third one they left, but
shit gets real in African cats in a way that it never does here.
yeah, that was very Circle of Life.
To be clear, there are some moments of peril here.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And small kids.
Yeah, there's a wolf that stalks the cubs a couple of times, and there's
bear on bear action.
Definitely, but it is less traumatic for young children, I would imagine, to watch bears eat salmon than it is to watch lions eat zebras. So.
No, but I do want to bring up for people that are thinking about bringing kids to this, like preschool age. I know somebody who is the mother of a preschool kid that had to leave because it got too intense, because there are scenes of, it makes it one bear cub is in danger of drowning. At one point, the bear cubs are being stalked, not just by the wolf, but another
bear,
adult bear. And you do get the impression that maybe it didn't survive. And, as kids identify with younger characters in movies, that's very intense for them. So that's something to be aware of for the parents that are out there.
Yeah, I brought Nick. Nick is 4.5. As you got to witness, Nick was not totally into it.
A little fidgety, a little
He
bit.
was. At one point, Nick grabbed my face and he goes, "Who is George Lucas?" Like out of nowhere, because he's totally into Star Wars right now. Like that's where his mind was, on some totally other movie. And I'm like trying not to laugh. I kept shushing him. Anyway, so Nick wasn't into it, but then he was asking questions afterwards, like, "Mommy, what are the babies' names?" So yeah, the kids will identify with the little cub bears. Yeah, it's pretty. I would like more science, actually. I would like more substance, because there are times, like you mentioned the thing with the big mean bear potentially stalking the little bears. Like, do bears cannibalize each other? I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. I want to know more about that.
I think maybe you were having a Nick moment. John C. Reilly explains that yes, the cubs are prey not just for wolves and hawks or whatever, but actually for other bears when they get hungry. Yeah, and I actually thought it was really interesting, the whole notion that The movie is about the mother having to find food to feed herself to then keep nursing the cubs, not just during the year, but throughout their next hibernation. So I thought that was kind of a cool, like I hadn't really put all those pieces together. Like I wasn't sure, because you do see the cubs eat solid food, like they nosh on some seafood periodically through the film, but they also, there's a lot of lactating in this movie. I was a little stunned to
She gets
see.
engorged.
Yeah. And like you see, like milk and stuff. It's,
One of the things this movie does is it does
she doesn't put a blanket over herself or anything.
One of the things the movie does is it does add this kind of crazy story, like, oh, the raven is guiding them along, like it's
Their spirit animal.
Right. It gets to be a little.
Although
much.
I wondered if that actually might be true, though. Like if.
Who knows?
Do they follow the birds to where? Do the birds scout ahead and go, hey, look, there's going to be dead fish here, or whatever?
And how do they communicate that with each other? Is there like bird, bear, haikus?
This isn't a science movie.
I would like more science. And I think
is look at the cute bears.
David Attenborough does not come out and explain anything. Neil deGrasse Tyson is not here.
Cosmos, but in bear form. So good. So good for the whole family. Yes.
Yeah.
Y'all are the parents. You tell me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
It's cute. It's cute.
Beautiful.
And look, like if this gets you, this is not something that you're going to learn much at, but if it gets you, interested in learning more, great, right?
Yeah, as a documentary gateway drug,
right.
it's not bad.
It's not really, I would consider much of a documentary. You do get over the end credits seeing how the filmmakers are really up and intimate with those bears, and holy shit, they're way too close to the grizzly bears.
Yeah.
Right?
How do they know? How do they know when to back off?
Right. After all this, and that's one of the things that's took me out of it a little bit. We spent an hour and a half hearing how hungry these bears are. And then these guys are about 10 yards away from these bears, like just filming them. And you think, these grizzlies are going to look at these guys and think, God, you guys smell delicious.
Maybe they're sprayed down with, some sort of
bear repellent
poop smell that makes them not, I don't know.
Maybe they brought a picnic basket with them to satiate the bears. All right, what are your numbers?
I give it a 7.1. I like looking at it.
I give it a 7.
Yeah, 7.
We're all in the same area, so it's a 7 from us is our average. But it's at what is it
Currently, all the reviews are positive, so it's at 100% on the tomato meter.
Who doesn't like bears? It's un-American. They're Alaskan bears. Okay, that's it. Yep. Bye.